So I spend like 13, 14 hours a day roughly on my social media marketing agency, and I actually posted a video about that and how I built up to that number of hours per day recently. And I had a bunch of people asking me in the comment section of that video, what do you even do? Like, how do you even spend your time? So that's why I'm making this video. I'm responding to a lot of people's comments to explain what I even do in a day and kind of what my plans are within my agency too, because there were some questions there. But mostly, how do I spend my time? So, I mean, right off the bat, I'll just run you through a pretty simple day in my life. So, what I usually do is I wake up, get out of bed right around 9 o'clock in the morning. I'll go have a shower, get ready, that kind of thing. I'll usually start working around 9:30, 9:45, that kind of thing. At which that point, what I'll do is I'll run through something I call my morning defaults. So, I have a Google Doc. Basically, I run through a list of things that I need to do every single morning. So the first one is checking my calendar. Another thing is reading over some reminders that I have to tell myself just to make sure my mind is kind of in the right place starting the day. Then following that, one thing I do is I check my YouTube comments, reply to comments, as many as I can within that set amount of time, because usually my sales calls or client calls or coaching calls start at 10 o'clock. And then another thing that I'll do is I'll run through my CRM. And basically, I'll track how many leads came in since I checked yesterday. I do this 7 days a week. I look at how many leads came in, and then I look at where they came from. Did they come from YouTube ads? Did they come from YouTube organic? Did they come from cold email? Wherever they came from, I write them down and track them. I have multiple different tracking sheets that I use so that I can look at what my marketing spend is per different category and what my return on investment is. So then I do my tracking, which usually takes me about 20 minutes on its own every day, because I usually have about 25 to 35 new leads to process and look at per day. Yes, I'm going to be outsourcing this, don't worry. I've got a guy who's starting full-time next week. Then from there, I will actually just read a little checklist that I have, which is kind of like a reminders thing for when I'm running paid ads to keep my mind in the right place for paid ads. I'll get all that stuff done. I'll contact some people on WhatsApp if need be. I work with a guy who runs a cold email agency and he runs my cold emails for me. So I'll message him and get things done for him if need be. And then 10 o'clock is usually where I start with A, hopping on a coaching call where I'm being coached, B, hopping on a sales call where I'm trying to sell my services for my agency, or C, where I'm hopping on a client call to help them with some sort of launching their account or this kind of thing. Again, my guy who's starting next week, he's going to take a lot of this stuff off my plate. A lot of you guys on my last video were just like, or are on that video that I mentioned, were just like, dude, why don't you outsource your stuff? Don't worry, I'm outsourcing. Hire where it hurts. I didn't hire. I wanted to make sure I had the workload to be able to support a person and actually give them stuff to do instead of having them work for me and be bored. So now that that's happened, I'm hiring. Don't worry, I'm going to take a lot of this stuff off my plate. From there, between 10 and 6, or usually between 10 and 1, I'll take sales calls. If sales calls don't show up, I'll call people back that need to be called. I'll respond to texts and emails kind of throughout the day if sales calls don't show up. If they do show up, obviously I take them, book follow-ups. I also do some training. So I have 2 appointment setters. One is full-time, one's part-time. So I'll hop on some Zoom meetings with them, teach them how to use the script in order to, book appointments at the highest rate possible, essentially. So I do some of that. I also sometimes intermittently work with my guy who's starting full-time next week. We do some part-time work, although that's been in the evenings more recently, where I'll hop on some Zoom calls with him, explain to him how to do stuff. I'll record some processes that I do in my business so that they can be documented so that it can be outsourced as well. So usually between 10 and 1, it's almost always just calls or catching up on things that need to be done and building systems and processes and that kind of thing. Usually between 1 and 3, it depends on the day. If a lot of sales calls show up, I don't take a break because I don't have a choice. But usually what I like to do is at 1 o'clock, ideally, I take a 1-hour break. So what I do is I totally step away from my computer and away from my phone. I will eat. I'll go out, I'll go on a walk to de-stress, calm my mind, usually a 15-minute walk, get outside, get some fresh air, that kind of thing. And then from there I'll come back. Usually I do the walk first, then I eat, then I'll chill, watch some YouTube videos for like 20 minutes, 15 minutes, that kind of thing. And then I'll get straight back into work at 2 o'clock, if I even take that break again. Sometimes I just have to take 10 minutes to snack, and that's all I really have, just because of how busy I am with calls and stuff lately. My schedule's been a little less structured and a little more scattered. So that happens. Then I jump back into work from 2 to 6. Usually that includes, again, client calls. I coach some people as well. So sometimes I'll hop on calls where I'm the coach and I'm working with people one-on-one. I'm not taking anybody else on right now at the time of me recording this video. so I'm not trying to sell you anything. And yeah, the process kind of repeats itself. I hop on sales calls, I hop on client calls, I help train my team, and then I kind of just go on from there. Let me check my calendar, see if there's anything I'm missing. Some other stuff that I'll do is I'll record YouTube videos, or I'll plan YouTube videos. I'll communicate with my editor because I have an editor for that side of things as well. If there are client tasks that need to be done, I'll be doing those. Again, as I get my full-time hire in place next week, I'm going to be mostly out of client service, and within a month my goal is to completely be out of client service, with the exception of actually writing the ads and doing the real serious work that means the most, that doesn't take me too much time. And really it's just mostly sales conversations, client conversations, and team conversations. At this point, it's just people talking all day long. That's basically what it is. Again, if there are breaks, then I catch up on what needs to be done, respond to emails, etc. At 6:30 is usually when I take my dinner break. So I immediately go downstairs, I go onto the Stairmaster in my parents' basement. I'll do the Stairmaster for about 10 minutes, get some cardio in. I normally like working out. I don't even have time to do like proper weightlifting anymore. I also have a shoulder injury, so I've just been doing that for a while. I also do physiotherapy to help the shoulder injury. Then I eat food, and then I usually have about 45 minutes to kill during that break, where I'll watch YouTube videos, I'll play with my dog, this kind of thing. Usually it's YouTube videos, honestly. And then from there, 8:30, I'll go back to work, and then this is where I do more of my client work, building more systems, not talking to people, that kind of work within the business. And then I do talk to my guy part-time who's going full-time next week. He just quit his job, so he's just working for me part-time right now. I'll talk to him, do more of the systems building, client stuff, keeping up on the client side of things as well. And then I plan my day at 10:45, my next day at 10:45 p.m. And then basically I make sure that every single minute of the day is fully planned out, and there's always going to be something for me to do, so that I'm not just like sitting there like and have nothing to do. Also, one thing that's true is that I forgot how people say it, but basically if you give yourself too much time to do a task, you'll find a way to fill that time. So if it only really takes you 30 minutes to do something, don't give yourself an hour, because you'll find a way for it to make you take an hour to do it. So I always cram stuff in as much as possible for efficiency's sake. So if you look at my calendar looks kind of insane sometimes. From there, 11 o'clock, I usually get off my computer. I'll go brush my teeth, FaceTime my girlfriend, go to sleep 11:30 to 12-ish, and then repeat the process the next day. So that's what I do in a day.